Imagine this. You're sailing through the Atlantic Ocean when suddenly you come across a ship. It's floating silently. All the sails set, the weather is clear. But when you board it, there's no one there. Not a single soul. Food is on the table, the cargo untouched, but the crew? Gone. It's like they vanished into thin air. This is the mystery of the Mary Celeste, one of the greatest unsolved maritime puzzles in history. What really happened on board that ship? The Mary Celeste is a name that echoes through the annals of mystery. Found abandoned in 1872, this American brigantine has been the subject of wild speculation, ghost stories, and countless theories. Why? Because what was left behind raised more questions than answers. The ship was in perfect condition. The lifeboat was missing, but there were no signs of a struggle, no distress calls, and no one ever found the crew again. So, what really happened? Let's dive into the facts, the theories, and the eerie possibilities behind this maritime enigma. In November 1872, the Mary Celeste set sail from New York, bound for Genoa, Italy. On board were Captain Benjamin Briggs, his wife, their 2-year-old daughter, and a crew of 7. The ship was carrying a cargo of denatured alcohol, which was used in industrial processes. Everything seemed normal. The weather was fine, the crew was experienced, and the captain had a solid reputation. But on December 5, 1872, a British ship named the Dei Grazia spotted the Mary Celeste adrift in the open ocean, about 400 miles east of the Azores. The crew of the Dei Grazia boarded the Mary Celeste and found it completely deserted. The ship's logbook was intact, the cargo was safe, and there was no damage to suggest a violent storm or pirate attack. Yet, the crew and passengers had vanished. So, what could have caused the crew to abandon the ship? Over the years, many theories have been proposed, ranging from the logical to the downright bizarre. At first, piracy seemed like a plausible explanation, but upon closer inspection, it didn't add up. There was no sign of a struggle, and the valuable cargo and personal belongings were untouched. If pirates had attacked, they would have likely taken the cargo, or at least left evidence of violence. Mutiny was another theory, but Captain Briggs was known to be a fair and well-liked leader, making a revolt unlikely. One of the more plausible theories revolves around the ship's cargo. The Mary Celeste was carrying 1,700 barrels of denatured alcohol, a highly flammable substance. Some believe that fumes from the alcohol could have built up in the ship's hold, leading the crew to fear an explosion. Perhaps they abandoned ship temporarily, expecting to return once the danger had passed. But, tragically, they may have been unable to find their way back to the ship or were lost at sea. This theory gained some traction when it was discovered that 9 of the barrels were empty. But here's where it gets tricky. There was no evidence of an explosion or fire, which complicates the idea that they would have panicked. Another possibility is that the Mary Celeste encountered a natural disaster, like a waterspout, a tornado that occurs over water. A waterspout could have caused enough panic for the crew to abandon ship, but there were no signs of flooding or severe weather damage. In fact, the ship was found in pristine condition, making this theory less likely. For years, people believed that the Mary Celeste was cursed. This belief grew stronger when they learned about the ship's unlucky history. Before being named the Mary Celeste, the ship had undergone several ownership changes, experienced damage, and was even abandoned once during construction. While fascinating, this backstory has more to do with bad luck than a genuine curse. As with any enduring mystery, there are some outlandish theories that have captivated the public imagination. Some have speculated that extraterrestrials were responsible for the disappearance of the crew. With no signs of a struggle or conflict, the idea that aliens could have abducted everyone on board, leaving the ship perfectly intact, became a fun but far-fetched theory. This is purely science fiction, but it does show how desperate people were to explain the mystery. Although the Mary Celeste wasn't sailing in the Bermuda Triangle, some theorists tried to link the ship's disappearance to the area's legendary reputation for causing mysterious vanishings. The Bermuda Triangle, though intriguing, doesn't hold any direct connection to this case. In the age of tall tales and maritime myths, some even suggested that the crew fell victim to a sea monster. While this makes for a thrilling story, there is, of course, no evidence to support the idea that a creature from the deep devoured the crew of the Mary Celeste. Despite the wild theories, human error remains a plausible explanation. Some believe that Captain Briggs might have made a critical decision under duress. There could have been a misinterpretation of the ship's condition, such as thinking it was taking on water, leading the crew to abandon ship in the lifeboat. In rough seas, They might have been separated from the Mary Celeste and lost at sea. But again, why leave the ship when there was no visible damage or danger? In recent years, marine historians and experts have taken a closer look at the Mary Celeste mystery. One prominent theory comes from author Brian Hicks, who suggests that the ship might have encountered a severe seaquake, causing the cargo of alcohol to release fumes. Fearing an explosion, Captain Briggs may have ordered everyone into the lifeboat as a precaution. Unfortunately, they may have never made it back to the ship, leaving the Mary Celeste to drift alone. Another intriguing idea comes from author Charles Eddie Fay, who speculated that a sudden drop in air pressure might have caused the crew to believe the ship was sinking. Panicking, they abandoned the ship, only to find themselves stranded in the open ocean. Over 150 years later, the fate of the Mary Celeste crew remains unsolved. Despite all the theories, no definitive answer has ever been found. It's one of those puzzles that keeps historians, detectives, and mystery lovers hooked, because there's just enough evidence to make the case compelling, but not enough to provide closure. Here's something strange. After the mystery, the Mary Celeste continued to sail for several more years under different owners. But her bad luck didn't end. In 1885, the ship was deliberately wrecked off the coast of Haiti as part of an insurance fraud scheme. Even in death, the Mary Celeste couldn't escape scandal. The story of the Mary Celeste is a reminder that some mysteries may never be solved. The ship's ghostly abandonment continues to fascinate, haunt, and inspire stories. From movies to books, the Mary Celeste remains a symbol of the unknown. But what truly happened to the crew on that fateful voyage? That's a question we may never answer. So, next time you're at sea and the waves start to crash a little too loudly, just remember, you never know what secrets the ocean holds. Maybe, just maybe, the Mary Celeste isn't as far away as we think.